What's going on, everybody? It is the WTW Podcast. It is Super Span here with Golden Arms 36, aka the birthday boy, aka the only man in the world that looks like that. So so we've got a bit of a different show today. It's more of a recap of the last week or so, bit of a rant, and some rumors to go through. So I guess we'll just start off with the last 6 games here. The Bulls went 2-6, we said, or two
Yeah,
and four. 2-4.
somewhere around there.
It was against the Orlando Magic, which we'll get more into. The Bucks, who didn't see that loss coming. The Pistons, we actually beat, lost to the Suns by 1 point. And then we beat the Jazz and lost to the Nuggets. I mean, if you ask me, not a whole lot of surprises there. Honestly, in my opinion, it was a surprise that we almost beat the Suns. That was a extremely close game there, obviously, with a overtime loss. It's just at this point, I'm not really heartbroken when we lose games like that. Like, it sucks to see, but at the same time, it's like, what is this team really? So it's like, you just kind of got to go with the flow at this point.
It just sucks to see that when they play a complete game, we still lose.
Right.
Especially when the big three did score over 20 points. You had Caruso contributing, hitting a clutch bucket, getting that clutch defense on Durant. Everything was like falling into place, especially since Phoenix was playing sloppy as hell, which helped in the Bulls' favor because they committed a lot of turnovers and the Bulls forced a lot of turnovers. But other than that, like we played a complete game. There's nothing else to really say other than that they should have got the win, but they didn't.
Right. Yeah. It definitely seems like that's been sort of the story this season. We've had a lot of close games where we could have easily won, but same old Bulls, you know, stuff that's going on. We can't really shoot threes.
Can't shoot
Sort
at
of veered
all.
away from
You can't
what's
shoot at
that?
all. You can't. They can't shoot at all.
Yeah.
Like, holy hell, dude! Like, some of these games were brutal to watch. These last 6 games, the losses were just so brutal. Only cause like, how do you get in such a hole like that and just suddenly like just not know how to shoot? It's just insane to me.
Well, I mean, that's really what happens when you don't have shooters on your team. I mean, you add Torrey Craig, who I love. I think he's a great addition. I think Javon Carter's a great addition. You and I have talked about thinking maybe he should start. I love the way both of them play. I love the fact that they put Torrey Craig in the starting lineup. Again, great piece. He's been shooting decently. Javon Carter is just as good as advertised. But overall, the Bulls' struggles still continue. It's still the same story as the last 2, 3 seasons where we're just not hitting our threes. At this point, it just seems like we just don't have the personnel to do so, to keep up with any team in the NBA, really.
It's
It's frustrating.
it's funny because you remember our first episode? It was the Thunder. We were praising the Bulls like, hey, they shot all them threes, but they were good looks.
Yeah.
Now it's just we thought then like, oh well, eventually they're gonna fall. It's been
And
what we're 4 and 6, so we're 11 games in, and they have yet to fall. Other than the
yeah,
Utah game, which the Utah game, that's the Bulls at their best right there. Just shots
yeah,
falling, them playing some fantastic defense. The big three once again, shining, scoring over 20 points, I believe. Um, that's the Bulls at their best when they really want to come out and play. But ever since the whole news with Zach Levine, I think that really like hampered and shot the energy out of the Bulls for sure. Like the
yeah.
whatever energy they already had left out the window already.
Yeah, I mean, let's get into that real quick, and then we'll talk about
Oh
the
yeah, yeah. There's like not really
last.
much to talk about these games. Like there was our recap, folks. The Bulls went two
Yeah,
and six or 2-4 in the last 6 games. The two wins we did have were against mediocre teams or young teams, or a
yeah.
payback
We
win with the Detroit Pistons. Other than that, the Bulls still can't hang with the best teams in the NBA, even when they have an off night. And the teams on the rise, like Orlando, somehow surpassed the Bulls. Like
Oh yeah, well,
it's so crazy how like young teams that were like bottom feeders the last 3 years, and yet the Bulls stayed the same those last 3 years. Which
yeah. That's what happens. That's what happens when you give Zach that contract. I mean, you look. I fully agree with. I've always really agreed with what you've said about Zach's contract. There's really no wiggle room that you can make there. I'm no GM. I'm not a part of any front office, so I really don't know how the money situation works. I do know that the Bulls have never gone over the salary cap, mostly because of the owners. Um, which, if you ask me, I think it's about time for fans to start begging them to sell. That's a whole nother discussion for another video, but yeah, Zach LaVine has been back in some trade rumors. There's been a lot of well, not a lot actually. That's the surprising part. There's been just about a few teams that have really expressed interest, right? The Lakers, the Heat, who else? Was it the Knicks? Was the Knicks one of them?
they were, but Zach's camp had already said he doesn't want to go to the Knicks. Like this
Wow,
was recently.
that's
So the one I see, Lakers one, yeah. The Sixers and the Miami Heat.
Sixers in the Heat. The best one,
Those are the big three, really. Those are the top three that are realistically going to go for Zach LaVine. I don't know how the
right?
Lakers are going to finagle their way into another third star and trying to build a bench up with scraps because we're taking their best talent. I mean, there's no doubt about it. Taking their best talent of the Lakers deal. But
Oh yeah, big time.
so what you got, Mikey? What's your opinion so far? What you got here for the peoples?
Well, we've seen the Lakers trade rumor. Didn't you say it was D'Lo? Was Austin Reeves involved in the official rumor?
So the one I see here, the Lakers received Zach LaVine. We
Yeah.
received D'Angelo Russell, Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves, a 2029 first round pick, and a 2023 swap.
So obviously I would do that. I think at this point you would have to do something like that. That would be like the
That'd be
best
the
case
worst case
scenario.
scenario. That'd be the worst case scenario, in
I
my
feel like
opinion.
that'd be the best case scenario.
Nah, I think we can net a little better for him. I believe
I
we can.
oh
I feel like a team will dupe themselves into thinking, all right, Levine's the missing second star, or he's the third guy we need, you know? Because
yeah.
the more I think about it, the more attractive because man, it's a toss up between the Heat package and the fucking the Philadelphia 76ers trade package. Because the Sixers trade package would include that Clippers first round pick, and you know how
Oh yeah.
their trajectory is going so far, especially after Kawhi and the Paul George era. You know.
Oh yeah. Kawhi's already kind of looking a little upset. I mean, maybe not at the whole Clippers organization or how the team is playing or anything like that, but there was a video I think that came out today that he was, slowly walking to the huddle, getting annoyed at Zubac. But I totally agree with you. That Clippers pick would look great, especially if we can get some solid role players. I mean, first and foremost, get rid of that Zach contract because we can't do anything with that.
No.
We've been knowing this for ever now, but we cannot do anything as long as Zach LaVine is on the team because how are you going to sign anybody? They're not going to go into the luxury tax. So you have to trade him, acquire young assets, get picks, and then that's that. Um, I don't mind the Lakers package. If we could get better, I'm down. I know there's been a lot of people saying we should go for Zion. I would love to. I would take that risk in a heartbeat. We've talked about not believing that the Bulls are going to go into a full rebuild, and that seems to be the overall consensus involving this team. And even during these trade rumors that they're not going to do a full rebuild, they're going to do more of a retool. And if you're able to swing a trade that gets you some young, promising superstar like Zion, I say you go for it. Um, I feel like it's sort of yet to be seen or whatever if the Pelicans are interested in Zach LaVine. I haven't seen any official rumor other than fans being like, yeah, let's go for Zion. It makes sense in theory,
Like
but
the
I mean,
fit works, right? Like they have a pretty good fit, other than the point guard situation, which I don't know if New Orleans ever figured that out since losing Lonzo Ball, but I mean, they got Brandon Ingram, which is he's a high level scorer. Like for God's sakes, he
right.
got compared to Kevin Durant at one point. So and he's just a bit more reliable than Zion, and I feel like, my opinion, he fits better with Zach LaVine. Or
Yeah.
hey, maybe the plot twist: what if they trade Brandon Ingram for Zach LaVine?
I feel
What
like
if
that's
what if they pick Zion over Brandon Ingram, and they're like, all right, we'll just get Zach LaVine because he just fits better with you.
uh, look, I think Brandon Ingram's a great player, but I feel like that's the same situation as Zach. He's a great scorer, just not a number one guy that could
Mm,
actually lead you to a championship.
got a point there.
Like again, love him, think he's great, don't think he's that guy. Zion has the potential to be that guy.
That's true.
Like I don't know. So I mean that would be my pipe dream trade because only I only say that because you haven't heard anything about it. The thing that seems more likely is the Lakers, Sixers, and Heat, like we mentioned. I mean, to me, that's just
Let's get into the Heat trade package. So it would be what I heard and what I read. It would be what's his name? Kyle Lowry. It would be their Nikola Jovic. That's his name.
okay,
Nikola
something like
Jovic.
that.
Jaime Jaquez, Tyler Hero, and then like a first round and then like a swap or something for Zach LaVine. Or maybe no Kyle Lowry and just keep Tyler Hero and the two other young guys and then a first round pick.
Yeah,
I believe that was the trade rumor.
I mean, if we're looking to retool, I wouldn't mind getting Kyle Lowry.
That seems to be the more logical route to take though. With the team
Right, the point guard.
with the team in place right now, because man, as much as like the media and everybody else is dogging the draft picks, other than Dalen Terry, which ass. Sorry, Bulls fans, Dalen Terry's
Oh, terrible.
ass. Everybody else is pretty decent, pretty good. Like our bench is really good, especially if we decide we're gonna, because the Bulls haven't really like officially said they're gonna trade Caruso, which we'll get into that. But if they don't trade Caruso, then it's just a full retool, which that's the more realistic thing I can see. People are people might shit on it and be like, why would the Bulls do that? Just rebuild. But it's like, dude,
Sometimes you don't have to.
right, right. How is it that Indiana and Sacramento were able to just not fully rebuild but like retool?
And now look at them.
Sometimes it just takes the right players that just to fit the coach's system, or the right
That,
players to be in the right change of scenery. Like a change of
that,
scenery doesn't hurt both ways.
yeah, I just want to jump in here. That's a great point that you just brought up because if you look at the Pacers and the Kings trade, the Sabonis and Halliburton trade, that's a perfect example of trading a guy who's not quite a number one option, a legit number one option, and going and getting a younger up and coming guy. And then the trade just working out for both teams. I mean, you see Demonis, Sabonis, and De'Aaron Fox playing like superstars together. They feed off of each other so well because like you said, they're the right pieces for each other. And Halliburton on the Pacers is a match made in heaven. I mean, the dude's averaging like 12 assists a game.
Yeah.
He's going off. He scores well. He passes phenomenally. So I mean, if we could get something like that, now that you mentioned that Heat package, that sounds beautiful. That sounds like a great package. I wouldn't mind that or the Lakers package. Um, I don't know. I mean, I would like either one. Um, it's hard to tell what is a pipe dream and what's not because obviously different teams value players different ways. Like the Bulls value Zach LaVine higher than the Heat might value him or than the Lakers might value him. But with that being said, I feel like that sort of puts us at an advantage in terms of our total potential package for him.
Right.
I mean, if you're going to want to get Zach LaVine a 20 at his best 25 to 27 point per game scorer on efficient shooting when he again at his best, then you're going to have to pony up a boatload of an offer. You're not just going to get him for a player and a pick.
Especially if you're trading him to a team with an established point guard already, because
Right. Oh yeah.
we've already seen how Zach LaVine plays with an established pass first, get the offense initiated point guard. You see his efficient. You thought he was efficient that, and right now look. Just watch his efficiency go up when he plays with a playmaker like any playmaker,
Right.
whichever team we trade him to. If they have a playmaker on there, ooh boy, that team's
Yeah.
has got themselves a lethal scorer in Zach LaVine.
Oh yeah. I'd be interested to see what the Heat would do in that situation if they I mean if they trade away Kyle Lowry, which sort of leads me to believe maybe they won't, but I mean he's not really playing well, so it's not like it would really matter much for them. If they're getting Zach LaVine, I'm sure they'll just be like, yeah, we'll just, next man up. Whoever wants to play point, I go for it. Um, but yeah, I mean, that would be a pretty darn good team. Um, I mean, I'd be sort of interested to see what the Sixers can offer, but I doubt that it's anything
It,
substantial.
it's that Clippers first round pick. If you're gonna take the Philly route, then you're rebuilding.
Oh, oh
You're
yeah,
in my opinion, you're rebuilding for that because you're just banking on the first round pick and then your own first round picks.
yeah. Then no, I don't want to give him that. That's the least enticing offer to me.
Well, we're gonna have to get into that. So let's say the Bulls do take the rebuilding route and they trade away Zach. What do you think? What do you think of DeMar DeRozan and where he's gonna go? Because I've always said the
Got to trade him.
Lakers, but like, where do you think like? Do you have another team that you think might use him or might utilize him a lot better? Because my thing is he's going to the Lakers.
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the most likely option. You hear that all the time with any star player. Oh, they're going to the Lakers, they're going to the Knicks, they're going to the Heat, Philly, wherever. Um, because honestly, that's where they always end up. And I could see him going to the Lakers. Uh, again, they would have to pony up a pretty darn good offer
Austin
in
Reeves.
order for the Bulls to take it.
I say a straight up DeMar for Austin Reeves trade.
I wouldn't mind that. You're getting a solid up and coming player who was good enough to be on the Team USA FIBA team. Now, I know people might roast me for that because they lost, but I mean, hey, that's really nothing to sneeze at. The dude
Hey,
is an up and coming star.
he played really well in that tournament.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't matter how they finished. Because they take that momentum into the next season and they usually play a lot better. Now, granted, he's off to a slow start because he did play
Yeah.
hella basketball from the Western Conference Finals, FIBA World Tournaments, and then started the season. So obviously
Yeah.
he's gonna come out to a slow start, but that usually usually it takes like other players to get readjusted to the speed again. Other times, they pull a Derrick Rose. They play in the FIBA championships and they become an MVP.
Yeah.
Or, they become Olympic mellow and then they bring that momentum into the season and becomes leading scorer in the league, like a lot of players do take these FIBA championships seriously because They like to hone in on their craft, and plus, they're getting playing time they normally wouldn't get.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of trades, we sort of touched on Alex Caruso. I mean, we've been saying that we believe he's a bull for life. But I mean, you've also touched on the fact that there are teams lining up to trade for him. I would be incredibly curious to see what those kind of offers are because I feel like you're going to have to give up a lot for him as well, probably more than you would have to give up for DeMar.
Yeah, it's
I
not a
mean,
matter. It's
that
not a
could
matter of matching salary with Caruso because he has such a team friendly deal that
yeah.
honestly it would a lot of draft picks and cash considerations would be the one, but you'd want to get a young player. Obviously, it all depends on which team is willing to offer 2 first round picks for him.
Yeah. I mean, like obviously when I say it's going to be more than the DeMar deal, I feel like DeMar could be a 1-for-1 deal. I'm talking about in terms of yeah, like picks and everything. So obviously you're not going to get a young star for Alex Caruso,
I
but
mean,
Alex Caruso is a
you
freaking
probably could. You probably could. Like it just man, like I'm trying to think of like a decent team that's just one player away from like bringing them over the hump or something like that. Like I don't know. Like what if?
the Lakers have been a thing that have
Yeah,
been
but
brought up.
I'm not trying to think Lakers because now everybody on the Bulls going to the Lakers apparently.
Yeah,
So and you're gonna think I'm crazy, but what do you think, Alex Caruso for either Michael Porter Jr. or Christian Brown?
I don't think they would do that for
You
MPJ.
don't think so? Because honestly, they you plug in Alex Caruso in the Denver Nuggets, and that's a repeat champion right there. And
Yeah, but you're
I
talking
guarantee
about
you I guarantee you Denver is among those 10 teams that would love to have Caruso on the team. If anything, that would be the most like Caruso ain't going
maybe
to a
Christian
rebuilding.
Brown, but
He,
not Michael Porter Jr.
I'll take Christian Brown because he's a young up and coming player. Like I think he's really good.
Yeah,
He plays the right way, and you know
look, I I would love MPJ.
Oh,
I just
I'm
don't.
just throwing out whoever, but like,
Oh yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
honestly, because I see that happening. Because Caruso's not going to a rebuilding team. He's not going to a retooling team. He's going to a contender, and a contender is going to give up a first round pick and a rotation player, and maybe one of their young guys. It all depends on how much they value their young guy. Like I said, if Denver really wants to be a repeat champion, then you would trade Christian Brown for Alex Caruso because that's a major upgrade. Throwing that
Yeah,
first round pick because you never know. Maybe that first round pick might end up being useful once who knows how long Denver's window is.
the next Jokic. Oh,
So
really? You're right. I mean, you could get a steal at any point in the draft, especially in the first round. That's very true.
mhm.
Um, I guess we're gonna move on to just about the last segment here. Do you want to talk about the Patrick Williams situation, or do you want me to start talking about it, or
look,
because
before Mr. Span right here goes off on his little tangent on his rant about how he's right and I'm wrong. I just want to say right here, I've been a 100% Patrick Williams supporter since the day he was drafted. He's his archetype, 6'7", 6'8", right?
something like that? Yeah.
7 foot wingspan, pretty much the prototype of Kawhi Leonard. I'm waiting for that to still happen, but hey, you know what? Sometimes late bloomers happen.
You're gonna have to keep.
It's only been 3 years. Only been 3 years. He's only 23, 22 years old. I don't know how old he is, but it's starting to really become difficult to defend this kid. It's really becoming hard, especially the way that he's starting out this season.
Oh
But
yeah,
I still believe. I believe. Okay,
you could keep believing.
until the day he's traded, I believe. Go on.
Yeah.
You take the mic. I will mute myself, and then yeah.
So respectfully, I think I just have to disagree entirely. Um, from the moment there were the rumors, 2-3 years ago, where we could have traded him for Jeremy Grant, I have been extremely resentful towards holding on to Patrick Williams. There's been a ton of people that have said, oh, well, if you trade him and he goes to be a superstar elsewhere, you're going to regret it. Look at Lauri Markkanen, right? And what do I always say? Lauri Markkanen showed promise. Patrick Williams, he has shown almost zero promise, if you ask me. His two highest scoring games were he had 30 points twice, right? He's averaging 5 points a game this year, shooting 23% from three. Small sample size. I get it. But he just does not show the heart. He doesn't show he shows the skill every now and then. But the thing is he is extremely selective with that. He goes in and he just lets everybody else do what they do. And he's like, well, if I get the ball, then I get the ball. And if not, I don't care. I'm just going to go back to my mom's flower shop and become employee of the month. He does not care about basketball. He doesn't. And I think the rumors that he wanted a $200 million contract are wrong. I think somebody said it was misinterpreted. Either way, people are saying that he could get a $100 million contract, something like that. Hell to the no. No way. You can walk your ass to any other team. Good riddance. It's just, I can't even pretend that I like this guy anymore. He seems like a nice guy, but in terms of a basketball player, bust. He's a bust. There's no ifs, ands, or buts around about it. He is absolutely terrible, and I cannot even pretend to like him anymore. It's just I'll talk about the last play of the game against Orlando because I know we really wanted to talk about that. There was about a second and a half left, and the man is dribbling the ball up the court like a bat out of hell. And there's only a second left. It's almost as if he thought there was 5 or 6 or whatever. And then he puts up a shot as the buzzer sounds, and of course he misses it, because why not? Why would he make it? It's not like he's a effing basketball player. I don't want to swear too many times, but for the love of God, come on, you got to have the situational awareness and know that there is only a second and a half left. We were gifted. What, he missed the free throw, right? The guy, or no, did they inbounded the ball? I forget how it happened.
It was literally after Banchero hit the game-winning shot. They inbounded the
and then we
ball.
inbounded it, right?
Caruso hit him with a bullet pass right to Patrick Williams. That's when he should have caught it, turned around, shot it.
Right.
He didn't do it.
Look, it's a low percentage shot anyways, obviously, but at least it's a shot. You I felt like I was going crazy. I wasn't even really watching the whole game because I was like, yeah, we're getting killed. And then we started coming back and I'm like, oh, something's happening here. And Banchero obviously traveled. Thanks 2-minute report. Get rid of that. I don't care about that because all it does is it makes people upset. And then every now and then you get a stupid tweet saying the refs are losing sleep over not calling fouls for LeBron or whatever the case is. But Banchero traveled. Yeah, that's great and all, but maybe keep it to yourself next time. It's sort of irrelevant at this point. Unless you're going to give the Bulls the win, keep it to yourself. I don't care. I don't even think we should trade Patrick Williams. I think we should cut him. I am.
Okay, chill.
Just cut
Chill
him.
out on
He's
that.
terrible.
Chill out on that, dude. Chill out.
What, you think we could get Jeremy Grant for him now? Jeremy Grant's over there averaging 20 points per game.
Yeah, on a fucking sad Blazers team.
That's better than on a sad Bulls team.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, he could be doing that on this team. We would be in a much better position right now if we traded Patrick Williams for Jeremy Grant 2 years ago. Much better. I don't care what anyone says. It is just, I mean, I hate to say I told you so, Julian, but I told you so. His career ain't over yet,
Still
but
22.
yeah, he's 22. That's similar to the amount of games he's played. All right, that's wrong. Okay, but that's similar to the amount of fucks he gives. I don't even know throughout his entire career. He get just it's unbelievable. I don't know. It's just man, he's gonna be the next part-time employee at Subway in the next 2 years. I could already see it. And even then, I mean, he might kill it because he's got those huge hands. He could do a few subs at once. I mean,
Yeah,
wouldn't that be great?
you are ruthless, bro. You are just
He's terrible. He's terrible. And there's people saying still that we should re-sign him. No. I can't see any team
resign
even.
him, but to the qualifying offer, that's the most you're gonna give him, the 7.5 million.
Yeah. Even then it's like, holy shit, does he deserve that? Like
Right,
I
the way
mean
he's playing, yeah.
it's ridiculous. He's averaging less points. This is the worst start he's ever had to his career.
I
And
mean,
it's
not
bad.
not just him. Zach Levine's starting horribly.
Oh yeah, terrible.
DeMar DeRozan's starting terribly too. Like, Kobe White's off to a slow start. The only ones that really keep us in games is our bench, which is crazy because you would think our starters would be ready to start playing right away. No, we start off these games down 15-2, 22-4,
Yeah. Oh yeah.
like just going down crazy. But yeah, here's our bench: Javon Carter, uh, Torrey Craig when he's still on the floor because he's technically a starter, but he's technically a bench player though.
I love Torrey Craig. Yeah.
Patrick Williams surprisingly plays well when he comes off the bench. Alex Caruso, and then when you have Io out there, that start or Drummond, whoever's playing the center position, those five guys get it done. We
Yeah.
have a bench mob, and our starting five, like
Hmm.
what's going on?
It's unbelievable. You have three former All-Stars, and I say former as in like what DeMar was an All-Star the last 2 years. He's obviously a multiple time All-Star. That's not the first two times he's an All-Star. Okay. Zach Levine's a two-time All-Star. Vooch is a two-time All-Star, I believe. I mean, how are you this bad? I really cannot answer that. I mean, oh, we don't have a point guard. I mean, come on. You can't like this is a team that on paper it looks good. On paper it looks good. You have two guys that average 25 points per game. You have Vooch who's a double-double machine and he can score like hell in the post, right? I mean, he's a top 5 center if you ask me. Um I mean, you have Caruso, who's a phenomenal defender. I mean, that's an understatement. All right. You got Kobe White, who in theory is a good scorer, supposedly is a good 3-point shooter. I like Kobe White. I'm not trying to harp on him too much, but he is so streaky, it's maddening.
Yeah, not
Uh,
even not even Ben Gordon can be as streaky as Kobe White, man.
Ben Gordon at least won 6 Man of the Year. Is Kobe
Yeah,
White going to win an award? No.
the way he shoots, hell no.
Right. And again, I like Kobe White, but like, come on, man. Like,
And
I just
what's crazy, and let's hit. I'm a piggyback off the whole big three. I get maybe it's coaching, maybe it's Billy Donovan just not able to figure out how to make these three fit. But even when we've seen other teams with big threes that don't like really mesh together, they at least
yeah.
made the playoffs. and try to and just granted they embarrassed themselves in the playoffs, but at least they got there. At least they like had the wherewithal to figure out, oh, let's get to the playoffs. We figured it out. The three alphas. That's a horrible fit. But they somehow made the playoffs and won two playoff games. Went up
Right.
2-0 in a series, like
How'd
yeah,
that happen?
right. Like you would think three all-star players would just figure it out. Like they would the first year, yeah, we gave him a cut. We kind of like cut him some slack because it was the first year. Lonzo got hurt midway through the season. Like maybe the loss of Lonzo won't hurt as bad because we have three All Star players, which had fresh off a season playing together for the first time, or going into a summer where they're working out together, having a good season. Like you would think the chemistry would have grown, but no, you would like you look at you look how they play on the court. You look like they just got assembled this past off season.
Right.
No chemistry whatsoever.
Well,
Now,
they look like a glorified pickup team at the YMCA. It's crazy.
now, do you think they tuned out coach, or is it just a matter of like them knowing like, nah, we can't play together?
It
Like
just
what?
honestly, it might be the latter. I mean, it might be both of those things. If you ask me, they might have tuned everybody out. They're like, oh, Kobe's got the ball. Okay. Oh, Zach's got the ball. Oh, DeMar's got the ball. Vooch, whatever, so on and so forth. I don't think they give a rat's ass. They're if you were to keep this team through the end of the year, I guarantee you miss the play in. I guarantee you. We can't keep acting like this team is going to work out because it's not. It just hasn't, and it won't. I mean, on their own, DeMar's a good player. DeMar is a borderline Hall of Famer, right? Zach LaVine, all-star player, 25 point per game scorer on efficient shooting. That was, again, that was in the Boylan era and the whatever the freaking, you know what I mean. It was before the DeMar trade and the Vooch trade, but I just don't get it, man. It's frustrating. I feel like I'm running out of breath here. Like it just being
Can,
exhausted about this team.
it's just. Can you believe we're back back here again? Back to this low.
Right.
Like, can you believe it?
I'm just trying not to think about the fact that what 6 years ago we were in the same position, except for at least they had the decency to go in a rebuild before the season started. Now again, we're probably not going to do a rebuild. At
Right,
least I hope.
because let's keep it
But
real. Did the first rebuild really work?
hell, they didn't even finish it because they got so unlucky in the draft and everything, and
Yeah,
like
yeah.
they were just like, screw it. Let's get. I mean, to be fair, AK and Mark Eversley did what they could. They put together a decent squad, because of he who shall not be named due to severe depression. But and I'm talking about the guy who wears number 2, and I am not talking about Jabari Parker. You didn't think you'd hear Jabari Parker, did you?
Yeah, he's killing
Ah,
it in Europe right now.
I believe it.
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
I
putting up a
mean,
lot of numbers, but not playing very much defense.
yeah. Well, he's gonna be putting up a lot of numbers there for a while. A la Jimmer Fredette. But yeah, I mean, do you have anything else you'd like to say? We're at the 30-minute mark right now. Well, past the 30-minute mark.
Yeah, we're almost hitting 40. Let's see here. Well, it's just I want to say I didn't see this coming because I really didn't see this coming.
I didn't either. And I'm in
I would
and
I would at least give him like at best a 500 record. I thought it would at least be 500. At the
right.
very worst, 500. My
Yeah.
pipe dream was at least be like 7 and like the reverse. Our record reverse, 7-4 or 7-5 or
Right.
something like that. You know?
Yeah.
But sheesh, I can't believe like we're literally a month into the season and we're already hit with trade rumors, hit with This team
Yeah.
might not look the same after Christmas or after January, depending on when we can trade everybody. It's just crazy how we went from having high expectations from like we decided to take the route of building around Zach LaVine because Bulls Nation, let's keep it real. Let's get this man some help during the Boylan era has never stopped on the Bleacher Report message boards and on Reddit. And they decided to take that route. We got Vucevic, we got DeMar DeRozan, we got Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball. And Bulls Nation was excited as hell because Garpax would never make moves like that. And we had a front
Right.
office that was aggressive, knew that we were a big market, and knew that there was players that wanted to come to Chicago, but just never got pitched, never had a reason why, like other than just being Jordan's crib. Like these two actually made moves and made like culture setting moves to like build this team up, right? It just didn't work out. We thought a minor bone bruise on Lonzo Ball would mean, oh, he's out for like 6 weeks. Who would have thought a bone bruise meant he's out for 3 years?
Jeez.
So it's a combination of bad luck, bad signings, and just bad luck on the draft because they drafted like archetypes that they like, 6'8", like 3-and-D guys. Just didn't out They just didn't work out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes you hit on the draft, like you hit players, you hit on players, well, you draft players like Marko Simonovic, but then you get a player like Io DeSumo, you know,
Right.
you get a
Yeah.
play, you get a player like Patrick Williams, but then you also draft Julian Phillips, which is he is yet to be seen, but I feel like if he gets some run, he might be a help on the Bulls, especially the energy they need.
Yeah.
But we got to this point, and it's just so sad to see that. Like it's just so sad to see that we as Bulls fans just can't have nice things.
Yeah. Well, to make a long story short, we are not seeing red anymore. So you have to do something. Simple as that. But we're gonna leave it there, guys. We're at the 40-minute mark now. But leave us some comments what you think the Bulls should do, which package you like the most.
Yeah, hit us
Um,
with some engagement down there in the comments section. We'll reply back.
yeah,
If you guys don't like the way the Bulls are running stuff, or if you think like whatever, give us any Bulls opinion you want. Whether it's like bad, good, bad, insightful, well thought out, whatever. We'll
yeah,
hit you back. We'll give you our insight on it, but give us some engagement. It'd be great.
yeah. Thank you guys for watching, and we will see you next time.
Peace out, y'all.